Finally getting her turn with the Tuneup Treatment, it is the very well-rounded, well-loved, and rather iconic Red Devil type of her respective family. It is DVL03 Blossomail, REGRADED, with a kit of Destroy, Double Sacrifice, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Bloodstain, which buffs her base power for every part destroyed when attacking an enemy. Now right from start, and for folks that have been playing a while, Blossomail is one of those rather strange models that makes offense pretty much her entire MO, life story, and the thing she lives and breathes. From the very moment she sets foot on the battlefield to the very moment the last enemy falls, she makes it very clear there is no survivors when it comes to how she fights. Destroy on her head is a rather conventional shooting skill that comes with a gambling condition. And that condition is if you correctly target a part that is being used, heat phase, has been used, cooldown phase, or is intercepted by a shield that is non-Medachange. The part in question is instantly broken, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This can make it very handy as a conventional shield busting skill that you can make use of very easily and moderately quickly if you want to make sure shields stay at the back of your mind. Sacrifice and the shooting variant on both arms are another conventional shooting skill that specializes in high damage output. Upon using Sacrifice, it will convert up to 50% of the arm's remaining, that is the key word, remaining HP into bonus power when attacking. After your turn and this skill is finished, the part will then self-destruct and is no longer considered usable until the arm can be restored via an action like Rebirth, Revive, Restore, or even First Aid to bring it back on the field. Now, some caution will, of course, be encouraged and exercised if you are going to use Sacrifice, primarily for the instance that even if you do bring the part back at 10%, it will not quite hit nearly as hard as that first blow unless you spend a turn or two healing HP before you use it. Biped Legs means that Blossomail will also have moderately good coverage across most terrains, as bipeds have arguably one of the best well-rounded variety when it comes to terrain matching. But one of the other big weaknesses of Blossomail to note is the fact that as aggressive as she is, she's also triple heavy. That means that if you're able to outrun her with a gravity attribute skill, well, she may go down faster than she'd really want to go. Blossomail is also capable of meta-changing into a more beast-like form, and in this form she exchanges her kit out for Triple Destroy, her leg tape to Multi-Ped, and her leg ability remains as Bloodstain. In this form she becomes much more obvious and blatant that she does not like shields at all, no matter which side of the field they're on. Now granted, this does mean that Medachange type shields will be exempt from this rule because they are kind of different, but in all other instances, if you see a shield and Blossomail's on the field, she most likely will break it within 1 to 2 turns once she does decide to give it attention. Now when it comes to Tuneup Treatment, for sake of mentioning it, Blossomail is actually going to be the very first model introduced in Medarot S that is capable of Tuneup and Medachange. Now, I am going to make this as a preface and say I'm not 100% sure how exactly this will behave. If it means that any bonuses added to, say, the right arm will move over to drive B as an example, or if all the parts and drives A through C are completely separate, I really cannot tell you at this point. The only time will tell going forward once it does officially become known. But for the sake of the bonuses that Blossomail brings to the table, as a Sacrifice nuker, a lot of her bonuses are based around HP. In the case of her head, she has access to plus 300 to HP, plus 200 to power, and heat and cool at plus 100 each. Now, obviously, as a Sacrifice nuker, you want to make her as healthy and as bulky as possible, as this means the more HP you have, the better of a damage bonus you get in the long run. Even if Destroy doesn't give you anything for an HP bonus, it is still good to have for the sake of keeping her bulky. So that's the reason why I gave the armor bonus the big must-have, and with the remaining points you could shoot for power or heat and cool. Doesn't really matter either direction you go. With her arms, on the other hand, she has access to plus 300 to armor each, plus 200 to armor each. Her right arm has access to plus 100 in heat, and the left at plus 150 to cool. Now again, as a Sacrifice nuker, you want to emphasize power and HP over basically anything else on the field, as that's where much of your damage is coming from. That being said, it is very obvious why, and very plain to see, why the plus 300 to HP per arm is very notable and very easily the best upgrade you can go with. and your remaining points you could push into power just to make sure that every hit that lands is going to indeed be as immensely painful as possible. The legs have access to plus 500 to armor, plus 300 to melee resist, plus 100 to mobility. Bloodstain gets a damage plus bonus upon activation, and terrain gets S rank on prairie. Now the leg ability I honestly had a lot of trouble with because she does have a pretty fair number of tune-up treatments that she has access to. The melee resist is nice, as it does mean it will allow her to round off her stats a little bit, make her a little more tanky across the board, but still all the same, I would have to say armor and mobility will probably be the best bonuses in this case to make sure that she keeps the bulk and she can maintain the speed, as being as triple heavy as she is, she definitely does not quite have speed at her advantage. Terrain and Bloodstain, again, you can kind of skip out on these as you don't really need them, but if you do decide that you want them for whatever reason you decide, they are there just in case. Now, in her Medachange form, on the other hand, Blossomail trades things around just a little bit with no real changes to the kind of upgrade she has available. In Drive A, she has access to plus 200 to power, plus 100 to success, and that's basically the same across the board for most of them, and plus 100 to cool. Drive B has access to plus 200 to power, plus 100 to heat, and plus 150 to cool. And lastly, Drive C has plus 200 to power, plus 200 to success, and plus 100 to cool. Now again, I really don't know if bonuses will carry between forms or if you have to pick and choose which form gets the upgrades. So I really can't say whether or not any upgrade is better than the other, and given that Blossomail is just triple destroy in this mode anyway, there really aren't a lot of bonuses that are worth going after because they're all going to kind of behave the same to begin with, all pretty much no matter which way you go. And even if you decide not to go after these, she does have destroy in base form anyway, so again, nothing really lost if you decide to kind of forego the bonuses on for her change form. But, however, on her legs on the other hand, she does have some notably different bonuses. In this case, her shoot and melee resist gain plus 200 each, which will definitely round her out some. Mobility gets plus 200, which will make her notably faster than she was before. And of course, the same damage plus from Bloodstain and a different terrain matching bonus as a final upgrade. If you are choosing to go after upgrading Blossomail at all, the melee, shoot resist, and the mobility bonuses will probably be your best bets in this case, as realistically drives A, B, and C really don't have a lot of changes or variants aside from maybe just hitting a little harder or maybe getting to the line just a little bit faster so you can bust that shield quicker than you could before. But realistically, if you are going to upgrade Blossomail, you probably would be better to keep her in her base form and kind of ignore a lot of the drive upgrades for now. But given that she is the first model in Medachange to receive the Tuneup treatment, this is only time will tell to show if this will change or if it'll become a new staple and kind of a generalized thing going forward. Now, taking her original old set and pure set and mixed part scores into account, I originally had her graded at about a 4.5 and a 5 out of 10 respectively, primarily for the reason that as a sacrifice nuker, she is kind of gimmicky to make use of and capitalize on while on the field, as using Blossomail, even though it does guarantee you shield busting and high base damage, it does also require very heavily that you use a healer on the team to make sure she can use her arms over and over, or keep her healthy so she can fire it off at the same consistent damage. However, considering her new pure set and mixed parts scores and changes to competitive meta since I last graded her, I do have to bump up Blossomail's scores to a 6 and a 6.5 out of 10 respectively, primarily for the reason that in current changes of PvP meta and current competitive just in general, Sacrifice has indeed kind of made a comeback as a powerful skill you can capitalize on and spam decently quickly if you build a team around it. Plus, with the bonuses to her leg stats to kind of round her out or make her just a little healthier and bulkier with the HP, it does mean that Blossomail will be able to stay on the field just a little bit longer than desired, and she'll be able to pack a little bit more of a punch when she's using either arm.